Okay, so we're starting Kuf Lamed Gimel on the Bais, halfway down. Amar Rav Chisda, it's the end of the line. It's 133b. Rav Chisda says, Ha Masnisa, the following brisa, Atise L'chia Barav, is what confused Chia Barav, is what made him make the mistake. Yesterday we had a machlekes between Rav Huna and Chia Barav. If the kohen is a partner in one section of the gifts, Rav Huna held that if he's a partner in the head, so the person doesn't have to give the gift of the jaw that's supposed to go to the kohen, but he has to give the other things. Chia Barav held that if he's a partner in any part of it, he doesn't have to give anything. So we disproved Chia Barav.
That was what Mikta Kukula is.
Yeah,
is that the concept?
Something like that.
Okay, close enough.
When you say partner, Rabbi, are you talking about somebody?
If the kohen owned part of the animal, so then he doesn't need to give. Then the Yisrael doesn't need to give the gifts.
Got it.
To the kohen.
Got it.
So Rav Chisda says that the following brisa is what fooled Chia Barav. The Tanya was taught in the brisa. It's a long brisa. There's just one little point of it that he wants to bring out. There's 24 gifts that are given to the kohen. All of them are given to Aaron and his sons with the general rule, with the details, with the covenant, and with salt. What that means is that the parsha, the section where it discusses this in Parshas Kairach, after the argument over if Aaron should be the high priest, all of that. So then the psukim go on to explain. They elaborate on what Aaron represents, what the gifts that are given to the kohen, and in there it says that this is an everlasting law, bris melach olam. It's a covenant, salt forever. Salt means like it never spoils. That's what the expression of melach. Melach means that it's forever. Kol HaMekayman, anyone that fulfills these 24 things, kilukiyam b'chlal prat bris melach. It's as if he fulfilled the klal prat. That means as if he fulfilled the whole Torah. Klal prat means the general rules of the Torah, the details of the Torah, the covenant and the salt. But anyone that violates this, kilu al klal al bichlal prat, the bris melach. It's as if he violates the general rules and the details of the Torah in the covenant and the salt. Ve'elohein, these are the 24. So it's 10, 10, and 4. Right here it's going to be 10, 4, and 10. So that's how it's broken up. Eser b'mikdash, 10 that are eaten in the temple. Va'arba b'Yerushalayim, 4 that are eaten in Yerushalayim. Eser b'gvulan, and 10 that go to all the entire country. So we're working our way out of. We're not working with number size. We're working our way out of the holiness. Eser b'mikdash, the 10 that are in the temple. Chatas, the korban chatas, some of it goes to the kohen to get eaten. Chatas oif, the bird, also some of it goes to the kohen to be eaten. Asham vadai, someone has to bring an asham, and asham tali. Asham tali is if he did a mistake, if he did a prohibition that he could have ended up bringing a chatas, but he wasn't sure if he did it, so he brings this other thing called asham tali. Like there were 2 pieces of meat and he ate one. One of them was Caleb and one wasn't. So he has to bring this other asham. Ziv cheshal mitzibar, the communal shlamim, which is brought on Shavuos, it's eaten by the kohanim. Like shemen shel mitzayra, this week's parsha, after the applications of the oil on the mitzayra, on his finger and whatever. So the rest of the oil in the jug goes to the kohen. Shtei alechem, that's also on Shavuos. Lechem apanim is the showbread on Shabbos. Shiurim menachos, what's left over from korban mincha. Minchas ha'omer is listed separately because the omer is you take kmitza from it. Other community. It's the only community sacrifice that's Kmitza is done and it's eaten. Okay, that's the 10 that are in the temple. Arba b'Yerushalayim. There's 4 that are in Jerusalem. Habachaira. This is a regular bechar tam that's brought to the Beis Hamikdash. You're allowed to eat it in the whole Jerusalem. Babikurim, the first fruits. Umuram and Atayda, what's taken off the carbon Taida. Taida is someone that a miracle happened to him. So, or he passed one of those 4 things, right? B'chol hachayim yidu chasela. There's 4 people that bring a carbon Taida. He passed through the desert. He was in prison. He was sick.
The same ones that say bench gomel.
So, he went over the sea. So, what's removed from the taida, which includes one of the breads, each of the types of breads go to the kohen. One of each. There's 4 types, and also the sections of the sacrifice, the sheikh, the chassan sheikh. It's like a shlamim. Me'el nazir, and also what's removed from the riyam of the nazir, which also has breads, and it also has the leg that goes to the kohen, and that could be eaten in all of Jerusalem. Va'iris kachem, in the skins of the sacrifices. We always learned that the skin of an Eily goes to a kohen, but here we're saying that the skins of all the sacrifices go to the kohen. Eser b'gvulin. What are the 10 that are in the whole of Israel? Truma, that's the 2% of the grain that goes to the kohen. Trumas meiser is after you give the Levi as meiser rishon. The Levi has to remove meiser at 1/10. It's a tenth of a tenth. He has to give that to the kohen. The challah is if someone makes bread. So if he's a baker, he has to give 1 out of 48 parts to the kohen, and if he's a homeowner, he has to give 1 out of 24 parts to the kohen. Reish zagez, the first shearings of wool of the sheep. Umatanis, Israel Chayim in the Keva. Okay. Pidyon Aben, the money from the Pidyon Aben, the 5 coins. Upidyon Petach Hamar, and the sheep that he gets, the kohen gets when the donkey is redeemed. Stei Achuza. If someone doesn't redeem his property and Yovel comes, so it goes to the kohenim. The Stei Charamim is if someone sanctifies a property.
It doesn't go to their family, Rabbi? It goes to...
certain properties get returned. Some don't.
Oh.
This, if it's not redeemed
Is the
by
convert
Yovel,
no
No, 1 second. Now the last one is v'gezel ager. If someone steals from a convert and the convert dies, there's no one to return it to because he doesn't have relatives. So it goes to the kohenim that are ager. It goes to the kohenim that are at that time. See, every Jewish person has a relative, right? Because even if he doesn't have close family, but if you work your way back to Yaakov Avinu, he must have a cousin, right? But a ger is not considered related. Okay, so it goes to the kohenim. So who savar chia barav thought?
Excuse me, with the ger, his non-ger family cannot make claims.
No.
But what if they do?
Yeah.
I mean, reality.
If the Torah law was the government law, then he wouldn't be able to.
Uh-huh.
But it's not going to help. You can't borrow a lot of money and then convert and then say, haha.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a little bit later. It's interesting. Who savar midika chashvelu lamatanis bechada? So chada ninu. Chia Barav said, how many? We said there's 24 gifts to the kohen. How many are given from the animal? There's 3 things that are given from the animal. In the list of 24, those 3 are counted as 1. So Chia Barav thought that if the kohen owns any part of it, you don't have to give all of it. If the kohen owns the head, you don't have to give the keva or the shek. Why? Because you see it's all 1. Any exemption from this exempts the whole thing. But it's not so. Just because we listed it as 1 in this category doesn't mean that it's really 1. Each one is a separate gift. And if you own part of the head, so you don't give the jaw, but you still have to give the foreleg, and you still have to give the stomach. That's like Rav Huna held. And the explanation is, is it what's taken from what's taken out from the taida and from the el nazar? Those are separate gifts also. The part of the animals, the different loaves of bread, those are all separate. We count it as one just to categorize it. So we count it as one. Mishum dechadaninu, is it really one? It's not one. Each one is separate. Because they're similar, we count it as one. So we count it as one, but that doesn't mean that if you're exempt from one of them, you don't have to give the other two parts. Okay, that was Rav Chisda explaining Chia Barav. Rav Chisda.
There's a mention here in the footnote that the Rambam does not count them as three separate mitzvahs. Is there any?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Interesting.
it's kind of a question.
No.
Oh no!
No.
It's wait.
No.
No, it is a question.
No. Let me explain.
Because in the way he counts mitzvahs, it doesn't fall into.
Does the Rambam count Tefillin Shel Yad and the Tefillin Shel Rosh as separate mitzvahs? Yeah, I think so. He does.
Yeah.
Does he count the 4 tzitzis? Yeah.
But
but
you're right. But there's a whole explanation of how he counts at the beginning of Mishnah Torah. Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it's a separate.
This is the way he counts, and this is the way he doesn't count. Right. That's that beginning that we tend to skip over because it's like boring. It's like the beginning of time. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Excuse me. I do.
We're thinking more like the salad when you show up at the wedding. They asked the question. Harais shali. I'm sorry. Harais shalach bekula shali. Mahu. This is the kohen is selling to the butcher. And the kohen is keeping the head. The head is the part that has the jaw in it, which is supposed to be given to the kohen. So from the head, he's for sure exempt. We said that we're going according to Rav Huna. So should he be exempt from the other ones as well? The only thing is, who owns the matanis, right? Who owns the body? Who owns the holy animal here? The holy animal is owned by the Jew. So ma basar chiyuv azlinan.
No, but
I'm sorry. I'm doing it backwards. I'm saying it backwards, right? Hareish shalcha, you're gonna get the head. You're gonna get that. V'kula shali, and the kohen is keeping the body. So the kohen owns the whole body. So, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. The Yisrael has the head. He has the obligation.
Who's saying this?
Sort of the body.
The kohen's ripping off the
Yisrael. You tell the butcher, the head is yours.
The butcher is the Yisrael.
Oh, the butcher say that?
The butcher is the Yisrael. The kohen is selling the animal to the butcher.
Yeah. So
the butcher is the Yisrael. So he tells him,
tell him,
you keep the head. The head is yours, but the body is mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And the butcher's stuck with now having to give the jaw part
so
of the head
it goes like this. Basar chiyuv azlinan v'chiyuv gabi Yisrael. Do we look at the part of the animal that has the obligation in it, and that belongs to the Jews, so the butcher has to give the jaw? Dilma, or maybe basar ikar behema azlinan, or we look at the whole animal. And ikar behema the koyenu, and the main animal, the whole body belongs to the kohen. So the whole animal belongs to the kohen.
The joy they give matana because of the veins, you say something?
Yeah, we said the kohen needs to know how to take it out.
The kohen needs to know how to take it out, or the butcher?
The kohen. That's what we said before. Said any kohen that doesn't know how to take it out, you can't give it to him. Who said that? Rav.
So if not, he's going to keep it, the butcher?
So the question is, is there an obligation here for the butcher to give the little part that he has to the kohen when he doesn't even own the animal? He only owns that little thing. So Tashema, come and listen. Oivid kechavim the kohen shemasud tzainim liyisrael ligazis. Sounds like the next chapter here. A non-Jew or a kohen that they give their sheep to a Jewish person to shear the wool, to cut the wool off. This is pater. It's exempt. similar to what we have by us. If there's a non-Jew or a Kayan that own part of the animal, you don't have to give the Halakeach Geis Tzayne Shalevet Kechavim. Someone that buys the shearings of wool from the non-Jew, he's pater Reishis HaGeiz. He's exempt from giving the Reishis HaGeiz. Now, when is he buying it? We're learning this, that he's buying it even before it was taken off, while it's still on the sheep. He says, "I'll buy that wool off the sheep." Now, that's similar to the case of a Yisrael buying the matanas, or the part of the animal that has the matanas. Let's say the head off the kayin,
without buying the animal.
without buying the animal. You're only buying the Reishis HaGeiz. So now it says, so by the Reishis HaGeiz, when he buys the wool off without the animal, he's pater. But this is a stringency of Zrei L'chaim V'Akeva more than Reishis HaGeiz. Why? Because by Zrei L'chaim V'Akeva, if you buy just the head, you do have to give the jaw. Shmamina Basachiva Zlina and Shmamina. Should I go over that?
In other words, Shema Mina, that you do have it, that is two different cases.
You have to give the jaw, even though all he owned was the head.
Right, so you can't learn it from the shearing story.
Yeah. Well, the way we're learning is because this is more stringent than this shearing.
Right, but we want to originally say,
No, we were
he's
bringing
pater
this
by the shearings, he should be pater here.
No,
because he doesn't own
the
the animal.
Tashema, the end of the Bais is V'zech Chaimer B'Zrei B'Lechem Kiv Yesem Reish Zagez, that Zrei Lechem Kiv is different than Reish Zagez. That we say that it's different proves to me what the halacha is, and that's Razakah. So again, we're asking if the whole animal is owned by a Kayan, but the one part that's owned by Yisrael is the part that he has to give to the Kayan. So do we say that he's exempt because the animal is owned by the Kayan? Or do we say that he's obligated because the part that he owns is the part that needs to be given?
Right.
So we said, well, let's compare this to what it says by Reish Zagez. If a person buys just the wool, not the animal,
Right.
off a Kayan, so it says, or a guy, it says that he doesn't need to give the Reish Zagez. Because the Kayan of the guy owned the whole animal. He just bought that one thing that you don't have to give. There's no obligation there. And then the Brisa finishes off, but by Israel Chayim V'Akeva, by those matanas that come from every animal that is slaughtered, that's different. That's more strict. What does it mean it's more strict? That if you buy just that part of the animal, even though the Kayan owns everything else, you would need to give it to the Kayan. Because it's different than Reish Zagez.
So if you're buying Israel, if you're buying from a kohen, if Israel is buying from a kohen.
You're not allowed to sell it in the first place, no?
It's a regular mundane animal. It's not a carbon. It's a regular animal.
But you need to give it matana. Not give matana, not sell matana.
No, right now, no, it's not owned by anyone. Right now, it's an animal. The obligation to give the matana comes afterwards. Right now, it's just a regular animal. After the shechita.
You said before shechet.
That's after the shechita. You follow?
So what you're saying is, with
We're saying
those three
is-
things, Israel L'chaim, with the three things, even the Yisrael bought it from the Yisrael
Only
bought it
that-
from
those
the kohen,
parts-
or the Oived Chachamim bought it from.
No, or he bought it off a guy. When the Yisrael only owns those parts, he still has to give that part to the Kayan. He doesn't own the whole animal. Just that part he has to give to the Kayan.
Right.
Okay. If there's a quote from the Mishnah, if someone if the Kayan sells the animal to the Jew, and he says, I'm selling you the whole animal except for the matanas. So the Jew doesn't have to give the matanas.
How could he give the matanas if he didn't end up owning them?
Right.
Oh, he means he doesn't have to give them back.
Doesn't have to give him back to this guy. He could give it to anyone, I think.
Any coin, you're saying?
Pater min matanas.
And she doesn't have to give him it all. It's kind of a silly statement. It's like,
Right.
I'll do you a favor. I'm selling you this, except for this part that you're supposed to give me back.
Right.
Exactly. That's
Well-
exactly right.
I know, but it's like, so what's the big deal?
So who owns it now?
It's not his. It belongs to the coin. Because if the coin says, "I'm going to give you everything except for ABC," ABC still belongs to the coin. So the Israel is pater from giving the gifts. Because they're
No,
not
he
his.
doesn't have it either. Okay, the Gemara asks the question. V'raminu.
Strange.
See, it sounds
It
like
sounds
it's
the other way, yeah.
exactly, and then there's nothing else to ask. Now they're going to ask. You think it's a simple thing. This is the halacha. Now the Gemara comes and says, "I'm going to tell you why it's not what you think."
Look at the contradiction. There's a contradiction here. Same case. A kohen sells an animal to a Jew, and he tells him, "Al manas," on condition, "Shamatana shali," that the matanas are mine. That's what the kohen says. So nice in the kol kohen sheyirtzeh. He can give it to any person that he wants. That means that he still has to give the matanas.
The Yisrael can give it to anyone, any coin.
Yeah, but he still has to give it.
Right.
He's not exempt. Over here, the kohen is saying, "I'm selling it on condition."
That contradicts what we just said.
Right.
Uh-huh.
That's the contradiction.
Uh-huh.
But what's exactly the contradiction? Who owned it over here? Who owned it over here? The kohen owned it over here. Over here, the Yisrael owns it, and he gives it to any kohen that he wants. When the kohen says, "I'm selling it on condition," on condition that you don't.
Wait,
that
Al Menachem Matana Shali, isn't that the Kohen selling it to Yisrael?
the kohen selling it to the
was
Yisrael now. The kohen selling the animal to the Yisrael, and he's saying on condition that the gifts are mine. Very similar to that case before, where he sells him everything except for the gifts. Over there, we said that he doesn't have the Yisrael doesn't give the gifts because they belong to the kohen. And here we say that the Yisrael does have to give the gifts, and he gives it to any kohen that he wants. So the Gemara says, "Al manas achutz karamis." Over there, the sale in the Mishnah, the sale left out the matanas. The matanas were never sold. Here, everything is sold, but in the sale, there's a condition. You can't compare that. Over there was no sale on the matanas. Here, there is a sale. You just threw a condition into the sale. So when you throw the condition into the sale, now we have to see, is a condition possible to be fulfilled? So this kohen, he had no rights to those matanas. Why? Because the obligation of the matanas is going to be on the Jew after the animal is shechted. And who does it go to? To the kohen that owned it before? No, it goes to all the kohenim. So there's no right. He had no rights to make that condition. That on condition that the matanas are mine. The Ritva speaks out. He says that if he would have said on condition that you give me the matanas, that could have been a condition. Because you can make any stipulation that you want. His condition is on condition that the matanas are mine. He didn't own them to say on condition that they're mine.
Right.
No, he didn't own them. So he wasn't able to do that. But if he would have said on condition that you go and do something, then you can make a condition like that. I'll sell you this property on condition that you
because if you say they're
that
mine,
you
they're not
call
his.
my mother-in-law
It's not-
and wish
it's
her happy
not
birthday.
Tofet.
They're not his.
You know, I'm saying that.
It's not toe-face, the Kenyan. But that,
What are you asking?
I'm saying in that situation, the Kenyan is not toe-face. It can't happen to say, where you say,
Because the Tanai, the
the
condition
Tanai
can't happen.
doesn't. It's
Right.
like saying someone, a Jew says to a non-Jewish, "Haret Mekadeshesli," you know, there is no kiddushin between the Jew and the non-Jew.
Right. No, but here he's saying that on condition that the kohen is saying on the condition that the matanas are mine. Now, matanas could end up going to him,
Yeah.
but he had no right to make that condition because he didn't own that.
Right. It's
And
out of his,
there was-
it's out of his possession.
He could have said on condition that you give me the matanas, because then the Yisrael could do that. But he didn't say it right, so therefore, it's all the wording, right? The lawyers love this.
Right. Perception.
Is there a difference between I will and I shall in contracts? Like one
the
is-
shall is definitely more.
Uh-huh.
It kind of indicates
An
like a more
obligation?
urgency, more like, strength.
Nobody writes a shall, but they all write a will.
Okay, now the Gemara says, the Gemara explains, Chutz, if you say with the exception for that shiura, he's leaving it over. Almanas, if he says on condition, Lav shiura, he didn't leave anything over. It's just, okay, now the Gemara says, V'raminu. I'll ask you a contradiction. We're going to show you that Almanas also makes it that he doesn't have to give the matanas. Why? It says, Almanas matanis shali, matanis shaloi. There is a condition that worked. He says on condition that the matanas are mine. It says we have a contradiction in Baises. So the Gemara says, Bahab pligi. There's a machlekes here. Mar savar almanas shiurahu. One of them holds that almanas means on condition, is leaving over. Almanas means chutz me, except for. And the other one holds Mar savar almanas lav shiura. So it's machlekes what almanas means. But whatever the case is, if almanas is not shiura, then it's not considered leaving over, and the Yisrael can give it has to give the gifts to any kohen that he wants. Taisus Aviyar is an interesting question. He says if you make a condition and the condition isn't fulfilled, then the whole sale is nullified. Why over here is the whole sale not nullified? He made a condition that can't be fulfilled, so then the sale is nullified. So Taisus says two possibilities: either he said that the sale shouldn't be nullified, even if not, or it's considered masnal mashakasa b'Torah. He made a condition against the Torah where the sale isn't nullified; it's just the Tanai is batal. The condition falls off. Amlei macharli b'nei meyah. In the Mishnah, we said that there's a difference between if he buys it by the item or if he buys it by weight. If he buys it by weight, then the buyer can go back to the butcher and say that I had to give the gifts that you weighed, I had to give that to the kohen. That was really your obligation, because the butcher is supposed to give it to the kohen. I had to give it, and I had to pay for it also because it was on the scale. So he can go back to him and take the money back. Amar Rav says Leishanu al sheshakal atzmai. That's only if it was a self-checkout and he did his own weighing. Aval shakal leitabach, but if the seller, if the butcher did the scale, he weighed it, so adinim atabach. What the buyer can say is the buyer can tell the kohen, says, you go figure it out with the butcher. He gave this to me. It's all his fault. So he can sell him back. He can send the kohen back to the butcher. So what he would do, the butcher would then have to go to the buyer and say, does it still exist? And the butcher would have to organize that. And who the claim is against makes a difference, because that person has to go out of his way to go get it and do all of it. So that's hadina matabach. Remember, Mickey, the hadina matabach means that it's the tabach's obligation to get it for the kohen. That's what Rav says. Ravasi Amar afilu shakalei tabach hadinimai. No, Ravasi says even if the scale, the checkout, was done by the butcher, the kohen still goes to the buyer and he says, "Look, you have the matanas. Where are the matanas? They belong to me," and he has to give it to him. The Gemara asks, "Lema b'der Rav Chisda kamiflagi." Maybe they're arguing about what Rav Chisda says. Damar Rav Chisda, Gazal v'leinasi Yeshua Bailem. This throws us back into Baba Kama. Let's say someone stole an item, and the owner didn't give up hope. Why didn't he give up hope? Maybe he didn't even know it was stolen, but he thinks he's going to get it back. Someone stole his cell phone or something.
Not a cell phone.
Food.
Yeah.
Some sort of food item,
Based on the
because he's going to have to
next
eat it. But he thinks he's going to get it back somehow. Someone comes and he takes the item and he consumes it. So now the owner.
Is this the person who stole it? What's going on here?
The
person didn't give up ownership on whatever he lost. Somebody else comes and eats it.
The concept of any guy. The concept of not giving up ownership means that it never changed possession. So let me explain. We have a rule, karkain and exelis, that if you take land, it's not considered stolen. See, whenever someone steals an item, he becomes absolutely responsible for all the value of it and everything. And if he has to give it back to the owner, he stole it. The owner comes, it says, "Where's my item?" He says, "Oh, I'm sorry, it got lost." He says, "Don't tell me any stories. You stole it, you owe it. Even if lightning came out and struck it, you have to pay me for it." Let's say we say that it's not stolen. Like, for example, karkain and exelis. Someone steals someone else's property, and lightning comes out and strikes the trees and damages the whole. So he comes to the guy and says, "You stole my property. Give it back. Now it's damaged. Pay me for the whole property." He says, "No, the property wasn't really stolen. I happened to be living on it, but property is not stolen. It's still your original property." Okay.
Basically,
So
squatting.
if there's no yiyush, if the owner doesn't give up hope, it doesn't change possession. So it's still the original owner's. Now, where's the item? That's the question. So here, the item was eaten by the second person. The first person was the ganav, or the gazlan here.
Right. Oh, so
Was
there's
the
three people
gazlan.
here.
So there's the gazlan, there's the owner, the gazlan, and then the person that ate it. So Rav Chisda says that the owner can collect his money from the person that ate it, and he can also collect it from the first person that stole it. He can go to either one. And neither of them can push him away.
Both
Well, he can't collect twice, but he can go to either one to get his money.
business.
No, so let's say one person is easier to get the money from,
So the owner can go to either the Goslin.
or the guy that actually ate it, because both of them are considered like the one with the item, with his item. See, if there was yiyush, then he would only go to the first person, and then the person that took it from him, then the Goslin would go to the next guy and says, "Hey, you took my item," but the owner would only have one person to claim
Is there
it
a
from.
difference between a Goslin and a Ganef in a case like this?
Gazlan is a loyom.
No, Goslin is
Yeah, that has to do with kefil. That would have to not with. Okay.
This is actually the same as, current law. If you buy something and you end up buying a stolen object, even if you didn't know it, the police can come and take it from you. If you
Well, I don't know if it's actually the current law, because let's say it changed hands several times, and it ends up that in the end it's stolen. So let's say the police can take it from you, but that would only, according to this, the police can only come and claim it from you if there was no yiyush, if the owner didn't give up from getting it back. Let's say the owner gave up; he's not getting it back. It's lost. I lost it. So then the Goslin needs to make restitution to pay up the value of it, but the item is already gone.
Yeah, but I don't
Over
think
here-
that's our law.
I don't know.
I'm saying non-rabbinic law. I think
Uh-huh.
if you buy, you go